Good morning. Welcome to HadEnough.us and tearingdownthehouse.com. It's unfortunate I have to make this video as an introduction to my other videos, but when you got a time when distortion substitute for fair and balance, when you got smear substituting for intellectual honesty, when you've got allegations substituting for arguments, it's kind of necessary. This prologue is definitely necessary. The videos are not intended as an attack on some individuals. They're not partisan. Both our parties have been guilty of misleading the public time and time again. History has given us some signposts, and it's time we start looking at them. For a little bit of the history, I suggest we read Ominous Parallels by Leonard Peikoff. It describes the parallels between the Weimar Republic prior to the Nazis and our current situation. And this was written in 1982. We've come a long way since then, and that is not a compliment. And this video has members of Obama's administration, members of Congress, some advisors to both, in their own words. There's no distortion, there are no smears. This is simply the words they use, the philosophy they've advocated. History is a prologue. It's a prologue to current events. I'm not claiming Obama and Congress is setting up a dictatorship. I would never claim that. I'm simply looking at what they've said, where their ideas lead. But they are, in fact, status. Statism is, if you understand it correctly, the advocacy of the state as superior to the individual. This is contrary to the beliefs of our founding fathers. It's contrary to how our government was set up originally. When you have a government who claims the authority to run every aspect of our lives, that is statism. When you have a government that takes over the banking industry, the housing industry, intends to take over health care, take over every decision that we can possibly make in our best interest, mind you, that is statism. This is not Nazism, this is not fascism, it's statism. It's got a different face, it's got different names, it's got different methods and different methodology, but the intent is the same, the outcome is always the same. I'm not worried about this Congress or this president. I'm worried about down the road what happens 8 years from now, 10 years from now. What happens when some nutcase takes the philosophy that these men and women are following and takes it to its ultimate conclusion. That ultimate conclusion are millions of dead people. It's inevitable. It happens every time it's been done throughout our history. Rome fell from it. Greece fell from it. Germany, under the Nazis, ultimately collapsed under their own weight. Communism collapsed under their own weight. Every too-big dictatorship in the world has done precisely what our Congress, our president, prior presidents, prior Congresses have been doing for the last 50 years. To pretend that we are somehow immune is arrogant in the extreme. It's time we act, and act boldly. HadEnough.us and tearingdownthehouse.com are advocating a constitutional convention in 2011 to tear down the new house that's being built over the crumbling foundation of the old one. This is not a partisan effort. Frankly, we're done with politics. We're done with the two parties. Most of us understand that the parties have simply failed. They failed miserably. They failed to protect our interests. They failed to protect the Republic. It's time the people of the United States act in their own interests, act under their constitutional rights, under the 9th and 10th Amendment, to tear down the house and rebuild from the ground up with the Constitution as its foundation, fix the errors that were made, some honestly, some not so honestly, by our founders, and rebuild. It's time we got started. Our house has been torn down. It's time to rebuild.